On today's Locked On NBA Game Night podcast, are the Clippers back?
When that final buzzer rings, you know it's time for Locked On NBA Game Night. All the post-game reactions to every game across the league, every single night, with insights only the hosts at Locked On can provide. It's the true NBA fans' one stop for all the action. Every game, every night. It's Locked On NBA Game Night, tipping off now.
Let's get it going on the Locked On NBA Game Night podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network, your teams every day, the number one sports podcast network in the world. I'm Rylan Stiles covering the Thunder for Locked On Thunder. That's Andy Kaminsky covering the Lakers for Locked On Lakers. Andy, we had a wild Saturday night in the association. We're going to get to recap all of it today. This is going to be a fun one, Andy. Let's start with the first game on the docket, which was the afternoon tilt between the Clippers and the Hornets. And Andy, you know the Clippers all too well. We used to share a hallway with them even. They are the punching bag of the NBA consistently. This year, no different. But today, they beat the Hornets. And I know that the Hornets are the Hornets, but the Clippers are also the Clippers. And James Harden goes for 55 points, wins it 131-116, and they get Kawhi back today. I ask you simply, are the Clippers back?
No, they're not back. Let's slow down. They're on a 3-game losing streak before beating the Charlotte Hornets, who have won 4 games this entire season and were actually at fuller strength than the Clippers. Like they are a bad team. That being said, though, and I want to make it clear because you mentioned before the LA punching bag Clippers thing. I am not saying this to rag on the Clippers or do the Clippers going to clip type of thing. I need to see them actually, 500 before I declare that they are back. But that being said, James Harden went off in this game, 55 points, 17 of 26 from the field, hit 10 threes, got to the line 14 times, plus 7 assists against just 2 turnovers. He had 27 points in the first quarter, which took the Clippers from down in this game to up and I believe never giving up the lead. He was absolutely phenomenal in this game. He's been very good this whole year. Getting Kawhi Leonard back, I believe he's missed 10 games. That obviously gives them the foundation to try to dig themselves out of this hole. But given the collective age of this group, the collective injury history of this group, Kawhi's individual injury history, I need to see more before I decide to ride this ride. But it was a good game for the Clippers. It was a nice day for Chris Paul announcing his retirement. He happens to play his first game upon the announcement in North Carolina, where he is from. Obviously, a very intentional full circle moment for Chris, who actually had a really nice game himself off the bench, 23 minutes, 3 points, 8 assists against just 1 turnover. I actually thought in the first quarter, in addition to Harden, Chris Paul's first appearance, and he'd been out of the rotation a lot this season, I thought that played a role, Rylan, in getting the Clippers back into this as well.
I agree with you. The Clippers are not back, but at least there's something here today. And today there's something. I don't know how long this something will last, but this has been a forgettable season already at now just 5-11 on the year. And with all of the scandals and the injuries.
I was going to say the season's gone so badly, Rylan. We've kind of forgotten about the whole aspiration Kawhi cap circumvention thing because the season itself has been such a disaster.
Yeah, I mean, aspiration isn't the only company that folded. So did the Clippers' aspiration of competing this year. They were supposed to be a contender, and now we're saying, oh, good for the Clippers. They beat Charlotte, and that they're within a half a game of the play-in. Like, they're hoping to get to that play-in mark. And again, we don't know how long this positive juju will last around the Clippers, but to have a 55-point night from James Harden, who's been carrying this team despite their bad start, making them competitive in these losses, to have 55 points, hitting 10 threes in this game. And now you get to spend this afternoon waiting around for this second night of a back-to-back with Kawhi on deck to return to the lineup, at least you can feel kind of good if you're listening to Locked On Clippers and you're getting ready for this game, which, Andy, we have not been able to say you can feel good about the Clippers since opening night at best. So that's something. And for the Hornets, eesh. I mean, there's the trade rumors around LaMelo Ball, who has 18 points on 50% shooting. At least you have Knipple. Like, that's a fun piece.
Yeah, he's been good. Look, their youngest players, Knipple, Ryan Kalkbrenner, seeing James. I like those guys. They recently played against the Lakers, and I thought those guys all look good and show some promise. There's some house cleaning in order for this Hornets team. They just need to cleanse everything, start over, start with a new foundation. LaMelo is talented, but he is neither serious nor perennially healthy. There's been a lot of bad stuff with Miles Bridges that they probably need to excise. I think Brandon Miller's a keeper, but there's a lot that needs to be revamped with the Hornets. But their youngest players, they're rookies. There's some promise there. Like, Knipple looks really good.
There is some promise there with their youngest of young players, and we'll see what direction they take for the rest of this season and for the future in Charlotte. But the direction the Magic are taking is an upward trajectory. After that Desmond Bane buzzer beater, they've been on a bit of a roll here to turn their season back around as a team that we thought was a lock for a top 4 seed in this Eastern Conference. Let's go to Locked On Magic. Philip Rossman-Reich has you covered for the breakdown of the Magic beating the Knicks.
This is Philip Rossman-Reich coming to you randomly from the bounce house, where you could feel the reverberations of the Orlando Magic's 133-121 victory over the New York Knicks, even as UCF scraped by Oklahoma State 17-14. Watch Locked On Knights for a little bit more on that, or Locked On UCF for a little bit more on that. But a huge win for the Orlando Magic nonetheless. A not quite statement win, not quite gutsy win, but a commanding victory over an Eastern Conference rival. 37 points for Franz Wagner, 27 points for Desmond Bane, 26 points for Jalen Suggs, in a game that did not feel like a Magic game at all. Everybody filled in. Everybody did something to help this team get a huge win, whether it was Jonathan Isaac with putbacks, Jalen Suggs making his usual hustle plays, Franz Wagner stepping up into the star role to match Jalen Brunson. An 11-0 run in the fourth quarter gave the Orlando Magic the lead for good, gave them the separation that they needed. Just a humongous, gutsy character victory. Even Joe Prunty stepped in for Jamal Mosley, who was ill at halftime, did not coach the second half. A huge win, a huge kind of statement win for the Orlando Magic, clinching at least a tie of the season series, or winning the season series if they don't add another game against the Knicks in the NBA Cup games. But a big statement for Orlando. Their trio, their quartet, with Paolo still out, is able to win these big games against the best teams in the Eastern Conference. Orlando's officially turned the page from their 1-4 start, and they are making waves in the Eastern Conference. The Orlando Magic again defeat the New York Knicks 133-121 before heading out on their big Thanksgiving road trip with their 2 big NBA Cup games next week.
Big NBA Cup games ahead for the Magic, and the Magic have gotten a big win here. The statement win over the New York Knicks, Andy. What are you feeling after you watched Orlando play today?
First of all, just the idea of 3 magicians scoring 25-plus points feels like a good sign for them moving forward, because offense has been their issue, and particularly without Paolo Banchero in there, it's a really nice day for them. I also thought it was noteworthy, the 27 points that Desmond Bane had, 3 of 7 from behind the arc. The team shot 39% from behind the arc, and I was looking up some of their numbers, and specifically like wins and losses, those splits. In wins, Desmond Bane is shooting 38% from behind the arc, and the team tends to take more threes in those wins, and the team itself is shooting 38%. In losses, Bane is shooting 25%. The team is shooting under 30%. I think there's a lot that goes into those numbers in terms of determining how good the Magic can be and why they win. They brought in Desmond Bane to be a difference maker along these very specific lines. They needed the floor opened up. Like, as much as Banchero and Wagner and Jalen Suggs and these guys are talented players and two-way players in their own right to varying degrees, There's no spacing, and even with their ability to move the ball, they need that floor spread out. They brought in Bane specifically to do that. And early in the season, he wasn't. They were losing. He's starting to do it more now. They're winning. I don't think it's a coincidence.
They're starting to find their stride. So is Jake Madison finding his stride with the Pelicans despite the loss today. We'll talk about that coming up. But first, I want to say right now, by your good friends over at Quo, go check out Quo today because they're awesome. Let's talk about something that makes every business owner that they know way too well, and that's missed calls. Missed calls are frustrating because when customers try to reach you and can't get through, that's money slipping away. Quo, spelled Quo, is a smarter way to run business communications so you never miss an opportunity. Quo is the #1 business phone system built for 2025, not 1995. It's simple, modern, and designed to help you communicate faster, look more professional, and stay connected wherever you're working. I love that Quo works right from an app on your phone or computer. No extra device, no clunky landline. Your whole team can share one number and collaborate on calls and text in a shared inbox, which means customers get help faster. Their built-in AI is a game changer. It logs calls, it writes summaries, and even sets up follow-ups automatically to help you never miss a customer and make sure you never let money slip away. Try Quo for free at quo.com/LockedOnNBA. That's QUO.com/LockedOnNBA. And yes, you can even keep your existing number. Quo, no missed calls, no missed customers. Also, want to say right now, my good friends over at DoorDash, it's an important day to tell you about DoorDash because this NBA season is heating up, and DoorDash has the perfect way to keep fans in their bag all season long. Whether you're watching the highlights, your fantasy team, or just your favorite player, DoorDash makes every game even more fun because DoorDash is the official on-demand delivery platform of the NBA, and they're celebrating something that they call in your bag with the bag drop all season long. Every time an NBA player scores 50 or more points in a game, like James Harden did today, DoorDash drops 50% off your order with Dash Pass the next day, which is on Sunday. So you're automatically entered for a chance to win the ultimate fan drop. We're talking player-inspired drip, exclusive gear, and stuff you actually want with DoorDash. They have you covered for late-night highlight watching, last-minute watch parties, double overtime fuel-ups. So the next time someone goes off for 50, as James Harden did today, use promo code NBA50 like today on Sunday to get 50% off on DoorDash with Dash Pass, plus your shot at the bag drop. Dash Pass members only 50% off up to $10 the next day after a 50-point game with promo code. Terms and conditions apply. No purchase necessary. Ends April 13th. Open to U.S. residents 21 or older. Visit DoorDashInYourBag.com for full details. DoorDash in your bag all season long. We're back on the Locked On NBA Game Night podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network, your teams every day. I'm Rylan, Stiles, host of Locked On Thunder. That's Andy Kaminsky, host of Locked On Lakers. This is on the Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 sports podcast network in the world. And we have a trio of Locked On hosts ready to take you through the Pelicans Hawks game. Let's go out now to the guys in New Orleans.
I'm John Corrales from the Locked On Celtics podcast. The Pelicans lose to the Hawks 115-98. Of course, the Hawks won. They don't have Trae Young. They win when they don't have Trae Young. Kristaps Porzingis, former Celtic, had 29 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 assists to lead the Hawks.
And I'm Ross Jackson, host of Locked On Saints podcast. No Herb Jones, no Zion Williamson, no chance. But what's new when it comes to the New Orleans Pelicans?
And I'm Jake Madison, host of Locked On Pelicans. At least someone associated with the Pelicans got a ring tonight. For more, check out the Locked On Pelicans podcast.
Congratulations to Jake Madison on getting married today. He had a much better time than the hapless Pelicans did on this Saturday night. He scored more than the Pelicans did tonight.
Well, let's not put Jake Madison's business out in the streets there, Rylan. We don't know how the Lady Madison feels about that.
You know what? That's a technical foul on me. I'll raise it up.
Technical foul.
But the Pelicans did lose.
By the way, too, Jake's wife has to be just wonderfully understanding, because I can tell you now, if I had done that during my wedding, I would have been getting divorced during my wedding ceremony. My wife
during the reception.
Yes, during the reception, she would have murdered me. But congratulations to both of them. Jake's one of the good guys.
That's the kind of grinders you get here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Even at weddings, we're still producing the content.
Even at their own weddings.
Literally, at their own wedding. Just off the altar, Jake Madison is here talking about a Pelicans team that couldn't even score 100 points in this game, and they lose 115-98. But, Andy, in that whole arrangement, we had a crew of a Locked On hosts, and they mentioned that the Hawks win again without Trae Young. Is this storyline real for you? Are you buying or selling that Trae Young is actually attractive to Atlanta?
I am buying it. And I preface this by saying I have never been the world's biggest Trae Young fan, but the thing that jumps out at me is that it actually makes sense, because not only are you losing the defensive weaknesses and the covering up that's required when Trae is out there, and some of the inefficiencies as a scorer, because I think he's always been kind of overrated as a scorer. Not that he can't put up numbers, but he's never been a consistently efficient scorer. Where I do think he's actually kind of an underrated player is as a playmaker. And and that gets to why I think this is actually real. When you see the way Jalen Johnson has grown into not just a two-way player, and I think he's emerging into one of the better two-way players in the league. Part of his two-way play is that of a playmaker. And Dyson Daniels has improved as a playmaker. Nickeil Alexander-Walker is solid along these lines. And last year, like, the top two playmakers on the team behind Trae Young, Jalen Johnson and Dyson Daniels, their assists combined still didn't reach what Trae Young did, when I believe last year he led the league in assists. This year, that's not the case. And I think it speaks to those guys emerging and providing more just of a two-way foundation than they had before, when, again, as talented as Trae is, there was a lot of covering up for him. I think it actually makes sense in a lot of ways why they are doing better without him, because I just think as some of these younger guys continue to improve, they're just now more equipped to offset what they don't have in Trae, and then in the meantime, accentuate the things that they don't have to cover Trae for.
I agree with you 100%. But one youngster who does make his team better is Cade Cunningham, as the Pistons win their 12th in a row and had to manage some of that stretch without a healthy roster. But now they sit at 14-2 on the season, second best record in the NBA, only behind the 16-1 Thunder. And Cade Cunningham was excellent tonight for Detroit, as he puts up 29 points on 55% shooting from the floor, 3 for 6 from 3, 6 for 6 at the free throw line, 10 assists, 8 rebounds, flirts with that triple-double, gets a steal and a block as well. Cade Cunningham helps this team out. Jalen Duren continues to be awesome for Detroit. And I love this Pistons team. I love their style of defense. I love Cade Cunningham. I think that these Pistons are real, Andy.
Oh, they're hella real, man. They are a real team. I was very bullish on Detroit heading into this year. When the Locked On Network, we did our top 100, I had Cade, I believe, at 10. I know I had him in the top 10. He impresses the hell out of me every time I watch him. They just got Jaden Ivey back, and they're in a perfect place right now where, A, they can work Ivey back in while giving him the luxury of patience and time, because they've stacked so many wins early. They also now have the luxury of figuring out exactly what their future is with Ivey moving forward and how much he fits into the long-term plans for this team. But the foundation with Cunningham and Duren and Thompson and a shooter like Duncan Robinson, like Beef Stew has, he's known for the volatility and the ruggedness and the rebounding, but he's added shooting now. Like, this team is really good. JB Bickerstaff is a really good coach. Like, I'm not predicting they're going to come out of the East, but it would not shock me in the slightest if they did. And every time I see them play, obviously Cleveland at full strength will have something to say about it. The Knicks will have something to say about it. I think the Magic, when it's all said and done, could have something to say about it. But I think the Pistons, they're starting to look like a team that is just as likely to come out of the East as any of the top teams in the powerhouses.
Yeah, I think that they're real, they're spectacular, and they're contenders this year for the NBA crown, and especially for the Eastern Conference crown. But in the Western Conference, we had fireworks at the end in Dallas. We had a class of the West fall to the lowly Kings, and we still have to wrap up the Wizards and Bulls, all coming up on today's show.
Do we? Do we?
But first, I want to tell you right now, my good friends over at Prize Picks, go check out Prize Picks today, as they are great for you, especially on a Sunday. You want to know why? Because you and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right get you paid. Do not miss the excitement this sports season, whether you're following the NFL, NBA, or both. There's no better time to get on the action than right now. If you haven't tried it yet, Prize Picks is the simplest way to play. You pick more or less on at least 2 player projections, and if you get them right, it takes less than 60 seconds to enter. You get paid, and that's anywhere Prize Picks operates, including California, Texas, Georgia, Oklahoma, and many more. I love Prize Picks because on a football Sunday, I can take the more on Patrick Mahomes passing touchdowns and the more on SGA points and just let the games book in the night and see how much I got right and how much I can win. Plus, they added the new stack feature. You can now just simply pick more on SGA points, threes, and assists. The same player and different stats in the same lineup. You used to not be able to do that. Now you can. They also have the injury reboot feature that saves lineups from losses if a player leaves early. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's LOCKEDONNBA for $50 in lineups after you just simply play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. We're back on the Locked On NBA Game Night podcast. I'm Rylan Stiles, host of Locked On Thunder. That's Andy Kaminsky, host of Locked On Lakers. And Andy, the Grizzlies and the Mavericks end with a 102-96 win for Memphis, but the game continued after the buzzer as John Morant was able to snipe at Klay Thompson and get Klay Thompson fired up, and Klay's addressing it in the locker room and saying that Ja really doesn't take accountability and didn't say anything intelligent in that spat that they had. But Zach Edey was impressive tonight for Memphis. Want to give him a shout out. 12 points, 15 rebounds in this game, 3 assists, a steal, and 4 blocks to really control the paint for the Grizzlies. Good to see him back out there. Let's go to Nick Inkstead of Locked On Mavericks to see how this game fared for Dallas.
Another disgusting game for the Dallas Mavericks. A loss to the Memphis Grizzlies, and this homestand is mercifully over for this Mavs team. Now they go on the road, and they will face a really tough schedule, but this game just absolutely brutal for the Mavs. Only a few bright spots. Klay Thompson, 22 points, and hit a bunch of his threes. The problem is the last shot that he took was the final shot of the game. Mavs down 3. They needed a 3. Inbound of the ball, Klay Thompson comes over and picks up a dribble handoff from Cooper Flag off the ground and just heaves it from 29 feet and missed completely. And there's 16 seconds left on the shot clock. Made absolutely no sense. I'm curious to see what he even thought in that last moment, but that was not a very good final shot for the Mavericks. It just kind of capped off a game that was just ugly for the Mavs. Didn't look like they were going to hit 100 points. They didn't. Didn't look like they were going to get 80 points at certain points in this game. Cooper Flag had kind of an up and down game at times, got a little slow going, but finished with a decent stat line, had 5 more points in the clutch in this one. Brandon Williams got going a little bit, but other than that, man, this offense for the Mavs needs something going at any point ever. Just something.
And I don't think that they're going to get something, Andy. It feels like the Mavericks, no matter if they want to or not, are going to have to lean into the tank at 5-13. However, Memphis getting a little bit healthier, and they're now securing that 10 seed for this very moment in the play-in tournament. 6-11 right now on the year. Zach Edey back in the lineup, of course. Again, no John Morant, though, in this game. No Jaren Jackson Jr. in this game. But, Cedric Coward put up 9 points and 2 rebounds, but overall he's been a positive for this team. We mentioned how positive Zach Edey was. Is this going to be kind of what these two teams are? Memphis is going to be a bad play-in team, and Dallas is going to be at the bottom of the barrel? Or do you see one of these two teams turning something around?
Well, I think Dallas is absolutely going to be at the bottom of the barrel, and frankly, that's where they need to be. I know Mark Cuban has said they're not going to look to trade Anthony Davis. They're trying to project that they are going to try to win. Maybe they are going to try to win. The reality is they would be insane to do anything other than start tearing this thing down, start trying to collect assets, use this coming season, the one first-round pick that they have control of for the next few years, on top of it being a really good draft class. Frankly, this worked out perfect for them in a lot of ways. You mentioned Zach Edey. He had a terrific, of the 15 rebounds, 7 were on the offensive glass. He had a huge tip out of a Cedric Howard missed free throw after the Klay Thompson, what the bleep man 3-pointer that Nick described. And I was like, wait, seriously, bro, what are you doing? But Cedric Howard got sent to the line and missed one of these 2 free throws. Edey tapped out the miss. The Memphis Grizzlies ended up controlling it. Vince Williams Jr. got sent to the line. He made both of his. And at that point, the game was out of reach for Dallas. What are they going to be moving forward, man? I don't know. I don't know how healthy they're going to stay. That's been an issue for Memphis for a while. I don't know if these players can all get on the same page with their coach, because as much as Ja has been the face of this clash, it doesn't seem like he's necessarily the only guy. And either way, they have not been playing well in ways that go well. I mean, Ja's a big piece of it because he's such an important part of the team, but it doesn't seem like he's the only guy with some issues. So it feels like there's a lot for them to iron out. But, the play-in eligible portion of the West has been softer than I think all of us thought heading into the season. So the Grizzlies have a chance. The Mavericks should want no piece of that at all. And thankfully for them, they seem to be moving in that direction, whether they like it or not.
And the Mavericks, I mean, this would be malpractice for them not to go and tank and try to secure the best possible pick that they can before they forfeit over their pick in the future drafts to come. But a nice night for Sacramento. I mean, they win 128-123 against Denver. Another game that I don't think really sways the opinion of either side clearly, but still a nice win on the road for Sacramento, even though Denver was beat up. So no Christian Brown, of course, no Julian Strouthard, no Aaron Gordon in this game for Denver. Massive blows to their rotation. The Kings, of course, without Sabonis, as they're going to be without him for a few more weeks at least. But ultimately, it was the Kings powered by Russell Westbrook at the end. He finishes with 21 points, 11 assists, 6 rebounds, a big shot for the N1 by DeMar DeRozan with 19 to get them this win. The Kings getting a road win, I don't think that it changes anything for their long-term outlook in terms of trying to figure out a way to get back into the play-in 2 games out. But, it's a feel-good story for what's been a terrible start for the Kings.
Well, the game within the game is Russell Westbrook revenge games, and never, ever underestimate the fuel that will come for Russ in games like this. And he was really good. 21 points, 9 of 16 from the field, 2 of 6 from behind the arc, 11 assists against just 1 turnover, 6 rebounds. I know it's not even the first time he's played Denver this year. I believe it actually might be the 3rd time, but it does not matter. That man never forgets anything. He is the elephant of the NBA. He's got a long memory, and he tends to get very fired up for games like this. And he played really well in a game where I don't know what the hell the Kings are, what they are aspiring to be. I know what they are. They're a mess. I don't know what they're aspiring to be. But if they are trying to stay in the play-in mix like this, games like this really matter. And Russ really helped deliver his team a win.
The last game on the docket, the Bulls staved off the Wizards 121-120, able to keep the Wizards at bay despite the fact that Corey Kispert went for 20 points. Alex Sarr went for 16 and 11. Keyshawn George has 17 and 12 rebounds. And then CJ McCollum also had 18 points for the Wizards. But it was the Bulls who had a triple-double from Josh Giddey that got the win. Kobe White had 20, and then Vooch had 28. However, after the game, Nikola Vucevic called the Bulls soft and said that this is not sustainable to play this way and get wins, which is, I mean, honestly true. Whenever you're only able to beat Washington 121-120, like you're not playing a good enough brand of defense to get consistent wins. And Andy, this is one of the games from tonight that I do think that there are a lot of branching off points from in the bigger picture of the NBA, because the Bulls went from the talk of the league to stumbling and now trying to figure out where's going to be their level point. Is it going to be the team that was off to a blitzing start, or is it more so much of the same? And they're still on that treadmill of mediocrity, now sitting 9th in the East. Like, where do you have the Bulls right now, and where could you see this going?
I always expect them to be 9th or 10th in the East because that just seems to be their destiny of late in the NBA. At times, it feels like they are building the team with that goal. Although, Josh Giddey has turned out to be, I think, a better fit for the Bulls and a better investment for the Bulls than certainly a lot of people thought when they made that trade, him for Alex Caruso straight up. Buzelis is a good young player. Like Kobe White, whether he's in a lot of trade rumors and stuff like that, we'll see how long he's actually with the team. But, there's some interesting pieces. Not exactly sure where they go from here. I think they have to pick a hard direction in either direction and commit to something. But for the time being, they are trying to win, and this was important for them, even if it doesn't inspire their fans or inspire Nikola Vucevic. And then for the Wizards, this was perfect because they need more young talent. They need a high draft pick. And in the meantime, guys like George and Sarr and Cam Whitmore, even, they played well. So you lose the game, which ultimately is big picture or, this coming summer, good for them. But then also the young guys keep developing. Like Alex Sarr, I think, has looked very good this season. And you're starting to see what the Wizards saw in him when they took him second. George is a good young player. Kispert, if nothing else, is starting to, I think, raise his value to where the Wizards could get something for him in a deal. And I'd be surprised, frankly, if he's on this team past the trade deadline. But I think both teams got exactly what they wanted, even if you don't know exactly where either one of them is going.
Andy, this was fun. A fun night of NBA basketball. We have you covered every single day on Locked On NBA Game Night, recapping every single game of the NBA season. So until tomorrow, be good and be good to one another.